Hi guys, I'm Alison. I'm here for some years and involved in some major things on Ergo, like Nautilus wallet and Fleet SDK and so on. And before I start, I would like to say hi, glad I am to be between you guys. So it's really nice to finally meet every one of you personally. So thank you for making it happen. So let's talk about Machina, right? So that's right. So Machina is P2P decentralized exchange on top of Ergo blockchain. Um, we like to think it about like something like UTXO native application because um, so far most of applications on UTXO model tries to somehow emulate how EVM contracts works. So we are trying to do something different there. So where each order on the exchange is individual contract, so I think it's the best approach for UTXO uh, structure. So it's P2P because you open orders directly and somebody buys from you with no intermediaries or no batching, third-party batching mechanism. So it's based on grid orders of instead of liquidity pools. So it's pretty novel. We are taking advantage of Kush's idea on his grid contracts here. So this contract is basically you set orders. So when somebody buys or sells from you, it creates an inverse orders, making a profit difference between transactions. So it's also self-custodial. So you can you have control and ownership of your assets from end to end. No intermediaries here. So and as I told, no intermediaries and also no proxy contracts. I'm not saying that proxy contracts are bad. They are good in some points because, for example, it's a good strategy to create some kind of incentive for running infrastructure, but it's not so transparent from a user experience perspective. So because you are sending assets to a string, basically, and you need to hope that assets get back to you. So it's kind of not really transparent. So yeah, we are trying to do this on the more transparent way. So for this to work in a more and having concurrence in mind, we need to do some changes on Nautilus side because we need batching anyway. So what I'm trying to do is to implement a batching mechanism directly on Nautilus. So you agree if a certain slippage tolerance, so it will resign this transaction as many times as possible. So you are your own batcher. So and as and the last point, as everything on Ergo, it's open source and verifiable, and yes, as everything should be, right? So we have Services is structural overview here. So as you can see, it's a pretty simple one. But this has a reason to be like this. Because we believe in true decentralization, and decentralization games not only on using a blockchain as a settlement layer. You need to run your own transactions, your own batching. So the entire application logic it runs exclusively on the user browser. So UI will do most of the job. So interpreting UTXOs, parsing, batching, composing transactions, and so on. And on the other side, we need some kind of real-time UTXO transaction, UTXO streaming. So here's an ErgMist comes to play, which is a tool we are building. It's a simple one. It just takes data from an indexed node and streams it directly for the UI. So it's not something um, really complex. It's generic enough for any other application to make use of it. So it's not our actual backend because anybody can run it, even locally, and have fun, be your own bank. Yeah. So contracts, we have currently two different trading strategies i- done. It's which is auto compounding. So when you create multiple grid orders, everything let's say you create an order selling Ergo for SIG-USD. So everything you sold, you'll be used to buy lower. So you are maximizing profits and potentially losses. So, and alternatively, we have a cumulative strategy, which is we use fixed rates for buy and sell. So we buy at fixed rates and sell and fixed rates. So the profits are accumulated and separately. So it can be a more conservative strategy. So it's composable. All contracts are composable. So which means you can, for example, borrow something on Sigma Phi or do pools and right away um, do some tradings on Machina in a single transaction. And other protocols can use its liquidity to to make wherever they want because it's easily composable. So and yet on composition we have some characteristics we wanted to have from the ground up. It is highly optimized. We spend a lot of time optimizing code on building Ergo tree to have to can fit as much as orders in a single transaction as possible. So our biggest grid contract has around 300 bytes, and which allows us to fit around 219 orders in a single transaction. So it's pretty usable right now. This is the biggest one. We have, for example, buy single buy and sell order that are like 16 bytes. It's ridiculous, yeah. So and also no built-in protocol field. So it's okay. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah. Yes, we are assuming here we are using regular 97 kilobytes transactions, which is the regular transaction that the nodes accepts by directly by main pool. But mining pools can do transactions as big as they want, so can be even bigger. So yeah, yeah, yeah. This is a concept we are maturing for years. So we reached to the decision that protocol level fees are not good for ergo growth as a world. So we just gave up on this and let's make some a public good, right? So yeah, 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 absolutely, yes. It's like Sigma. I'm sorry, some Sigma USD, right? Yeah. Okay, thank you. So yeah, oh, thank you. So as with no protocol level, any other application on top of Ergo can use Machina's liquidity and do wherever they want. So yeah. So now we talk about a little bit about ErgMist, which is a tool that we use to make real-time price tracking and UTXO streaming possible. So it just takes UTXO from the indexed Ergo node and streams to wherever they want. So it's also Mempool-aware. So you can chain transactions by default because currently it's pretty complex to keep track of Mempool state. So I wanted to take care of it. So yeah, yeah. I don't have I have no idea. Yeah. Next is one transaction. Is a Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sure. Yeah, yeah. It's crazy, right?
Hello. Yeah. So I was saying that so we can do an 290 transactions per block per trans sorry 290 orders per transaction at the worst case, right? So all these orders are like using the biggest contracts. And then as Allison mentioned that we can do chained transactions, right? So you can submit transactions one after another without having to wait for confirmation. So if we know the what block size limit, I'll check after this, but we can theoretically do like 290 orders times the amount of transactions per block. So if it's like
Yeah.
what 100 transactions per block, we can have what nearly 30,000 orders, right? Per block. This is huge compared to like what exists right now on like Ethereum or Cardano, right? So I think this is pretty impressive, something to think about of leveraging UTXO's capabilities. Yeah, I don't know too much about subblocks, but with subblocks too, we can have so much just really high throughput potential here. So
Yeah, I think sub blocks we have similar capacity that you'll be just fitted on a main block. Oh, yeah, yeah. I think liquidity must be constructed. Yeah, but I think we have a natural incentive here because market can explore arbitrage between, for example, ErgoDex and Machina. So I'm not too worried about liquidity right now because we are just building things. But yeah, I think it's eventually. Sorry, Camille. Yeah, exactly this. Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly, exactly because you set up grids. You are your own market maker. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And also controlled risks because you are controlling your exposure, so on a certain range. So yeah, yeah. Thank you. So it's back to ErgMist. It's Mempool-aware, so which means um, back in Nautilus team we have a philosophy that every product we build we try to extract some outcomes of it. So, for example, we built Nautilus, um, fleet SDK is outcome of it. It's a positive side effect because we needed a powerful transaction builder tool. So I needed to do this from ground up. So I did it as a library so anyone can use it. So this is the same for ErgMis. Because it's depth agnostic, anybody can make use of it and have real-time UTXO streaming and Mempool-aware um, transactions. So, uh, and as a last point, um, I have to confess something for you, to you guys. Uh, GraphQL was a big mistake. So, we built that in a try to make Ergo work properly back in URI. So, but it's not successful. So I took advantage of that, and as we have at least a caching layer and integrated inside Nautilus, but yeah, I have to confess it's not perfect. So ErgMis will replace GraphQL on Nautilus. So hopefully we have a way better user experience there. So roadmap, 2 weeks, right? So we already have contracts done and under closed review by some community guys, and by the end of this year, I want to have ErgMis fully functional, and Fleet SDK for Q1 of the next year. Sorry, not Fleet SDK, but Machina SDK. Because it's important to have an SDK because we empower community to build stuff even before we have a functional UI. So they can use it and integrate it in any way they want it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they can, for example, build arbitrage bots and something like that. And we they gain some time so before release. And on Keytrue, our plan is to have our fees end-to-end beta on mainnet. So let's hoot for it. So thank you, and yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I did the
Here?
calculations. Yeah, perfect. So I did the calculations, right? So the maximum block size is 1.27 million bytes. So like
Oh,
1270 kilobytes is the maximum block size. So and the maximum transaction size is 96 kilobytes. So that means you can have about 13 max size transactions per block. So if you're doing what 290 orders, right? And that's the max that fills the 96 kilobytes, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so we can do about 3750 orders per block. So that's not as much as I probably claimed, but that's still a lot compared to definitely more than anything Cardano does for sure.
Yeah.
So, and again, guys, as Joe mentioned, this is all open parameters. So miners can vote for a larger block size, right? So when the demand comes, we can all like vote for like a bigger blocks, right? And we can squeeze in so much more orders per block. And yeah, just the throughput will be really fast. So this is
Yeah.
really impressive. About 3,750 orders per block.
Holy shit. Sorry.
Yes, that's in the worst case. That's the worst case.
Yeah. Worst case, yeah.
Yeah. Do we know best case? How many orders? Like the
No,
smallest orders?
not many, but I can check right now.
Okay. Use your what Ergo script CLI tool.
Oh, it's not broadcasting anymore.
And I think you
Yeah, so
stopped. Yeah,
let's.
you stopped.
Uh, I haven't done it yet, but it's yeah, yeah. But I think the baseline we usually do like 0.011 ergo. Yeah, so it's pretty much enough for most of transactions. Yeah, because for simple P2P transactions, this baseline is already way overpaid. Overpaid. It's uh, yeah. Oh, it will be not backwards compatible because it needs to use WebSockets because it's real time. Oh, sorry? Streaming, exactly. Yeah. 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 Yes, because currently a lot of times do real spamming on Explorer infrastructure. Yeah. Yeah. So if real time streaming, we can lower our maintaining costs while getting real time. So anybody else? So that's it. Thank you. Yeah. 3,000, 3,750 transactions per block. Yeah. Worst case, yes. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Uh, yeah, best case is like 16,000 transactions per block. So pretty much every. Okay, so I think we are done.